You are watching WISC TV3, Madison. Join Joe Champ, Katie Sy, and meteorologist Gary Canalti. This is News 3 at noon.
And good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. In the news, serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer is dead. We'll have a live report from Portage.
An Oshkosh man is formally charged in the death of Cora Jones.
A winter storm makes holiday travel treacherous.
And the storm is blowing us around a bit. Gary's here now with an update. It's been so windy.
We've had strong winds again this morning. In fact, we've had a wind gust up to 55 miles an hour earlier today at the Channel 3 studios. Our temperature stands at a chilly 31 degrees with some snow flurries. Wind chill factors are in the single digits. And we'll take a look at a chilly forecast a little bit later on.
All right, thanks, Gary.
All right, thanks a lot, Gary. As we said, serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer is dead, murdered by a fellow inmate.
He was attacked this morning at the Columbia Correctional Institution. Our Joel Despain joins us now live from Portage. Good afternoon, Joel.
Good afternoon, Katie, Joe.
We understand Dahmer and another inmate were attacked while they were working. What more can you tell us, Joel?
Well, Katie, as people now know, Jeffrey Dahmer's life sentence became a death sentence this morning. He was attacked while working in the prison's recreation area. Dahmer was brought here to Divine Savior Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 9/11 this morning of massive head injuries. Also hospitalized at this hour is convicted wife killer Jesse Anderson. You might remember he was the Milwaukee husband who claimed that two black men murdered his wife. He was working with Dahmer at the prison this morning, was injured in the same attack. Now, also remember that many of Dahmer's victims were also African American. It's unknown if this morning's murder and beatings were racially motivated, but certainly that's within the realm of possibilities. Excuse me while I'm trying to flip through my notes in the window out here. Also, it's no secret that even hardened criminals were offended that Jeffrey Dahmer was in prison with them. The serial killer had, in fact, told psychiatrists at the time of his trial that he feared he may be attacked while in prison. Earlier this year, he, in fact, was attacked but not seriously injured at the prison chapel. And this morning, the prosecutor in the Dahmer serial killings, Milwaukee County District Attorney Michael McCann, he's calling this a sad end to a very sad story. He says he now hopes that Jeffrey Dahmer's killer is not elevated to some folk hero status, Joe and Katie.
Joel, I mean, we knew this all along that he was having some difficulties with some of the other prisoners. Any indication as to why he was mixed in with the population? Was that a common occurrence?
Well, Joe, when he was first brought up here to Portage, he, of course, was held in isolation, but then he was brought into the general prison population. Since that time, there have been threats against Jeffrey Dahmer. As I mentioned before, he was attacked once before in the prison chapel. Now, that attack, it was a very crude weapon was used. It broke during the attack. Now, this morning, we don't know what type of weapon was used, but we're told that Jeffrey Dahmer died of massive head injury, so certainly he was bludgeoned with something inside that prison. We're also told that this is most likely just one other inmate who was involved in this attack on Mr. Jesse Anderson and Mr. Jeffrey Dahmer. And so it wasn't a riot or anything like that. It looks like it was someone who had it in for Jeffrey Dahmer and perhaps Jesse Anderson as well. Jesse Anderson is also in the hospital here. The official word here from the hospital is no word. They are releasing no information here. All information on this breaking story is being funneled through Madison, through the Corrections Department. So we can't really bring you any details as to what's happening here right now as far as Jesse Anderson's concerned. We also can't tell you whether Jeffrey Dahmer's body has been removed from the hospital. They're just saying nothing here at this hour.
All right, so obviously a lot to sort out. Joel Despain reporting live from Portage. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joel. And due to the importance of this story, Live at 5 will be unable to go on location to Chicago today. That story has been postponed until tomorrow. In other news, an Oshkosh man has been charged with the killing of Cora Jones. A criminal complaint filed today charges 53-year-old David Spanbauer with first-degree intentional homicide, sexual assault of a minor, and false imprisonment. Cora Jones was found dead several days after she vanished while riding her bike near her grandmother's home. Spanbauer was also charged last week with fatally shooting 21-year-old Trudy Jeske. Investigators say Spanbauer has also confessed to abducting and killing 10-year-old Ronnie Eichstead. Two more arrests last night in the Thanksgiving Eve shooting on Simpson Street in Madison. Police booked a man and a woman from Madison into the Dane County Jail. 3 juveniles were arrested Friday night for their alleged involvement. A 19-year-old man was shot and wounded. Police believe the shooting was gang-related. The suspects could make court appearances today. Charges may include attempted first-degree murder.
Closing arguments expected later today in the trial of the alleged Hollywood madam. Heidi Fleiss is charged with 5 counts of pandering for allegedly procuring 4 women for prostitution. She also faces a cocaine charge. Fleiss faces up to 11 years in prison if convicted. This isn't the last of court appearances for Fleiss. After this trial, she and her father are scheduled for trial on January 25th to face federal laundering charges. Serb forces continue to pound the United Nations safe area of Bihać in Bosnia. The UN reports heavy shelling in the area, including 2 shells that struck near a hospital overflowing with patients. U.S. Defense Secretary William Perry admits the war in Bosnia is all but over. He says UN and NATO forces are powerless to stop the Serbs from closing in on Bihać, and the best the UN can do now is to offer a ceasefire proposal. A meeting is underway in Belgium between leaders of Israel and the PLO to revive the Mideast peace process. Israeli Foreign Minister Shimon Peres and Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat were upbeat as they began their session. The two are expected to debate a possible withdrawal of Israeli troops from West Bank towns and are also expected to discuss dates for Palestinian elections.
Still ahead, Gary says you'll have to live with the cold for a while.
But then he says we might head back into some unseasonably mild weather, which would be nice. We'll be right back with Gary's forecast.
You know, the station is up on top of this hill, and I get out of my car this morning, and I'm like flattened because the wind is blowing so hard.
Those winds were very strong this morning, but at least we didn't have any snow to go along with it, as they had in other parts of the state. Now, let's take a look, first of all, at our numbers. We started out with a high, actually, yesterday. Well, those are the wrong numbers. Tell you what, let's just skip the numbers. Let's go on to the snow totals that we have across the northern 2/3 of Wisconsin. Our high last night was actually around 36 degrees, and we've been around 32 most of the day. Right now we're at 33, and you can see that the snow totals show that the heaviest amounts occurred in the far northwestern portion of Wisconsin, right up in the Duluth Superior area. Duluth officially at 13.5 inches of snow, but a swath of 6 inches or more of snow basically from Eau Claire to the north and west through most of the northwestern third of the state, and accumulating snow fell as far south as the northern portions of our viewing area. Some of that was mixed with sleet and freezing rain at times. But the storm system is starting to wind down now. Precipitation is becoming a little more scattered, most of this on the light side, and these are just light snow showers and flurries that aren't really accumulating very much. But the storm system came together very rapidly across the Midwest and then spun northeastward, now centered across the eastern portion of Lake Superior. You can see the strong north to northwesterly winds behind the storm. Our winds right now are out of the west, but they'll become more northwest with time, and that will allow our temperatures to cool down. Wind gusts, even at this hour, are in the 20 to 40 mile an hour range across most of the Midwest. Those winds will gradually diminish later this afternoon as well. When you couple those winds with temperatures only in the upper 20s and 30s across the state, wind chill factors drop into the single digits and even below zero when you head out toward the west across Minnesota and the Dakotas, where they have that fresh snow cover. The satellite view across the country shows the strong storm system coming together, tugging into moisture, and then heading northeastward. Unfortunately, the storm actually had 2 parts: the heavy snow that occurred in northern Wisconsin and the strong line of thunderstorms, which produced severe thunderstorms and tornadoes, unfortunately causing a couple of fatalities in Tennessee as the line of storms rolled on through. The main area of low pressure now located across the eastern portion of Lake Superior, heading into Canada. High temperatures today will probably only make it, or tomorrow only make it into the lower 30s, but tomorrow's forecast map shows there's still a possibility for some scattered snow flurries as we're getting that storm to depart. And then on Wednesday, with a little more sunshine, we should start to warm up. Our forecast for today calls for cloudy skies with scattered snow flurries. Our high temperature only making it up to around 37 degrees. Tonight, the winds will gradually diminish, but there's still a possibility for snow flurries, a low dropping to 24. And tomorrow, more clouds, more snow flurries, and a high of only 32. Extended forecast, though, does call for a warm-up by the end of the week. That's as we see a little more sunshine. Temperatures back into the upper 30s by Wednesday, mid-40s on Thursday, maybe up close to 50 degrees by Friday. At least we don't have that snow to melt. So.
Yeah, so some light at the end of the tunnel.
There is.
That'll be nice relief. Thanks, Gary.
Welcome, Adelaide. Thanks a lot. Just when you thought you had heard every way to cook chicken,
Mr. Food comes up with another recipe, and he says it's a winner.
Can you imagine chicken that's simply broiled, but so full of flavor that everybody's excited over it? Well, come on back.
the Powerball jackpot for Wednesday's drawing increases to an estimated $90 million. Nobody had the winning numbers for Saturday's drawing, which was for a jackpot of $70.5 million. The record jackpot is still $111 million, claimed by a Wisconsin teacher. Lucky person. The $90 million jackpot equals the second highest prize. The day after Thanksgiving served to be a record-setting day for Wisconsin retailers. A survey by Telecheck Services Incorporated shows Wisconsin retailers enjoyed the largest increase in the Midwest. Same-store sales climbed 7.6% over a year ago. Retail sales also reportedly increased 5.7% nationwide.
Stocks are higher today, extending the recovery that began Friday. The Dow is up 24 points at 3732. The Nasdaq is up 2 points at 744. In the ag markets today, Barrows and Gilts, the trend is moderate, 26 to 28, and the South trend is $1 higher at 13 to 17. That was $1 lower. Milwaukee cattle prices, steers 60 to 64, Holstein steers 56 to 61, utility cows 39 to 41, and calves 10 to 40. In the Chicago Milk Choice, steers are up 18 in December, up 28 in February. Live hogs down a dime in December, unchanged in February, and feeder steers up 45 cents in both January and March. Chicago Board of Trade now, corn is improved half a penny in December, up 3/4 in March. Wheat is up 2.5 in December, improved 2.5 also in March, and soybeans are up 6 in January, up 5 1/4 in March. Cash grains, corn is up 1 cent in Milwaukee and Dubuque, soybeans up a nickel in both of those cities, and no egg market today.
Okay, well, hey, speaking of eggs, Mr. Food is broiling chicken. He promises there's nothing boring about it. Here's his recipe for a very flavorful chicken.
Now that the leftover turkey is gone, or almost gone anyways, we can start thinking about all of the hustle and bustle of holiday shopping and wrapping and running and still wanting something on the table once in a while that we made ourselves. Well, watch what simple broiled chicken can do for us. We mix together a half cup of Dijon-style mustard, 1/4 cup each of vegetable oil and lemon juice, and a half teaspoon of dill weed. We put into that 2 pounds of boneless and skinless chicken breasts, and we let them marinate covered in the fridge for an hour. Oh, an hour is plenty. Then we simply broil them, maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes per side. And you know how broiled chicken can be a little flat in taste? Not this way. Those flavors are soaked right in. Or whatever other flavors you might want to add will work. Like the next time, use basil. The next, curry or chili powder or whatever other touches you'd want. Why, we can have a different taste every time with the same easy. And for grilling, it'll work the same way, too. And if you'd like the recipe, just send a self-addressed stamped envelope marked, "What Chicken?" to me, Mr. Food, right here at the station. And we'll get it back to you for easily looking like you spent a lot of time in the kitchen while you really got your shopping done. I mean, it's so much more than plain broiled that they always say, "What chicken?" About 2 seconds before they say, "Ooh, it's so good."
Katie is joined now by Mary Paul Long from the Humane Society with a dog that I think will last about 3 seconds. Wait till you see it, Katie.
I think you're right, Joe. This is a great dog. Mary Paul Long from the Dane County Humane Society joins us today. And this is Patches, and she is a purebred border collie. Tell us about her. She's gorgeous.
She's a 4-year-old female. She's spayed, and she was surrendered to us approximately 6 weeks ago because she was chasing livestock. So we don't recommend that she goes to a farm family that has livestock because she has a tendency to chase them. However, she knows all kinds of commands. She's very obedient and incredibly loyal. And her ride in the car over here was just wonderful. She's gentle.
And look at this face. Look at, how could you resist this face? She's got one blue eye and one brown eye. Can you see that?
And that's very typical of a purebred border collie. And these dogs are a very loyal, affectionate breed, and they will bond to you immediately. And this will be a wonderful pet for somebody. But we have a lot of animals over there right now, and we need to get her a home quickly.
Well, I can't imagine that she's been there 6 weeks because she is just gorgeous. But sometimes, you know, I don't know, sometimes certain dogs get passed over for whatever reason. She is a wonderful dog.
Very alert.
Yes. Let's take a look at last week's pet. We had that
guinea pig.
A gerbil. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, I always get confused. And did it get a home?
No, but it's there with a lot of other guinea pigs, and it's not immediate for that one. This one is a little more urgent.
Right. Well, call if you can get a home for Patches, because this is a wonderful dog. Look at her.
Yes.
This is great.
And let's not forget the food drive.
Yes. Well, how long does that go on?
Until right after Christmas. So if you think of it at your grocery store, drop a bag or canned food in there for our animals.
Is it a barrel at
It's
the
a barrel.
end of the grocery store? So
That's
when you're
right.
shopping, just pick up something, and then when you leave, you can just toss it there for the Humane Society. They need your help. Thanks, Mary Paul.
Thanks, Katie.
Joe?
Still ahead, the wave of the future, computers in the classroom and the impact they have on students. But first, on this day in history, in 1990, former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher left 10 Downing Street for the last time in 11 and a half years. Newly elected Prime Minister John Major replaced Thatcher. It is common for parents bragging about their child's education program to mention the student-to-computer ratio. They say there is one computer for every 2 students or something like that. And as if that magically translates into computer literacy for their young scholars, they think. It's a little more complex than that, according to Kathy Christoph, who joins us today. Kathy is the Assistant Director for Instructional Technology at the UW in the Division of Information Technology. And if you want to shorten all that, you can affectionately call it DO-IT, right? That's what they call it. Right. Well, tell us exactly what do you do when, you know, how do they utilize your program?
Well, I and my group help faculty and others who are involved in teaching effectively use technology in their teaching. It's easy to get a computer, but it's not always easy to know how to use it to actually make the instruction better.
Right, and that's the point I was making about the parents will think, well, hey, there's a scads of computer and all this equipment in there. How can we? And they'll say that this is a great thing, but if the kids don't know how to use it, it doesn't do them much good, right?
That's exactly right. We're finding lots of new uses for computers. For one thing, they can be used in classrooms effectively.
Okay.
For instance, imagine the arts and the humanities. Today we're getting things like this video disc, which has the whole National Gallery of Art on a video disc.
Okay.
So now students can use this in labs as well as faculty can use it in their teaching.
Okay, what else do you have here? You have some, they look like just regular CDs.
Yes, I've also got some CDs. This one is called the Magic Flute. In this case, in studying music, you can hear the individual segments of the music, see the notes, learn about the instruments, and it's all much more alive than just listening to an audio tape.
Right, and this is a quantum leap then to do something like this. I mean, you used to do it you'd wheel in a tape recorder or maybe do something on the blackboard. Now you've got this sort of technology.
That's exactly right. Show things moving, show pictures.
Do you also have, I mean, the balancing act in times now when we're cutting funding, you know, all over the place. How do you do all this and then also operate within your budget?
Okay.
Is that tough?
Well, that's where learning to use it effectively comes in. We really try to focus on those disciplines and those aspects of certain courses that you could use technology the best. We incorporate evaluating this into our whole program. So we look at how the learning took place before technology came, and do students learn anymore? Do they learn faster? Do they learn better?
Right, so you have to find out that. Looking in your crystal ball, if there's one thing people should be watching for, what would it be in the classroom? What's coming?
I would say watch for easier access to technology. Right. I would say look at what's happening on internet and other resources, but really keep in mind what you want to do with it.
Right. Okay. Don't just have the stuff, know how to use it. Kathy, thanks for joining us. Kathy Christoph from DO-IT.
Thank you.
Sounds exciting. Coming up, a feast fit for animals will take you to an unusual dinner party for monkeys. More information now. The Department of Corrections issued a statement this morning about the Dahmer murder and the assault on Jesse Anderson. Apparently, Jeffrey Dahmer was in the general prison population. Correction officials say they did not fear for his life.
This is not certainly something of regular occurrence. This is something that is first in my time with an inmate upon inmate assault that has resulted in this kind of terrible ending. We certainly will be debriefing this and see what, if anything, could be done to prevent this kind of incident in the future. We certainly.
Corrections officials say they do not have a murder weapon, but a bloody broom handle was found at the scene of the crime.
And due to the importance of this breaking story, Live at 5 will not be able to be on location in Chicago today as promoted, but they will be in Chicago tomorrow.
Right, they'll be going to Chicago to kind of talk about what's in that city. So.
And finally today, at a buffet banquet in Thailand on Sunday, the guests were rude, fought amongst themselves, and generally acted like animals.
That's because they were. It was the annual Monkey Feast, a Buddhist celebration with an all-you-can-eat buffet for Central Thailand's monkey population. The local belief is that keeping the monkeys happy brings some good luck. All right.
And why not? Gary?
Looks like a windy afternoon. We'll see some snow flurries and our high temperature at 37.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. We'll bring you updates all day long on the Jeffrey Dahmer murder.
All right. Thanks. See you later.